I have to say, Gemini, you brought me to some very interesting places with some unexpected turns while I was connecting with your energy. At first, while I was meditating, I had this image of a cave, the entrance of a cave. And it really didn't look like anything super spectacular or interesting. It was actually quite mundane looking, almost like it was a tunnel or man made. And it wasn't until I started to traverse inside that it quickly became dark. And I really had to feel my way through. I had to have my hands kind of follow the walls. And after some time of just wandering through this darkness, I eventually ended up into this really beautifully candlelit cavern that just was so open and almost like a cathedral. And this place felt very ceremonious, very ritualistic. It felt like a very healing and inviting place. It was very warm overall. Almost amniotic is a good word for this. And so the kind of overall impression I'm getting from this, maybe some of you are connecting with caves, but what I really think this is about is that some of you have had to kind of go down this pathway that has felt very dark. And maybe you're looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not at all what you're expecting, but it's beautiful nonetheless. And it makes a lot of sense. At the time of this recording, the astrology has had you in a very reflective space. Maybe you're really kind of exploring things on a deeper level, looking deeper inside of yourself. I really got the expression dig deep with this cave as well. You're digging deep inside of yourself and into situations that you are finding yourself in. And it's not a fast process. There's this kind of need to slow down, which is actually quite interesting because, again, time of this recording, we are in your season and there's a lot of energy going on externally, but there's this unexpected development within, and maybe even finding comfort in situations or environments that feel unfamiliar to you or kind of unknown to you, sort of braving the darkness, whether that's inside of yourself or on the path you are on. I did pull some energies that are supporting you. We will get to some tarot cards in just a moment. The first card I got was Chamomile, and the energy here is about soothing. That is the message of this card. And chamomile is very commonly used as kind of a relaxant. It helps us fall asleep. So I think that's very straightforward. Maybe some of you are having a hard time sleeping, and maybe there are ways that you can give yourself a better quality rest. But I think overall, what this really speaks to is finding comfort, soothing yourself. Generally, when this card comes up, it's not a great time to make big decisions or rash decisions, especially if emotions are very high. What a lot of people may not know about chamomile is that the oil is often used to treat burns or sores. It can also be used for ulcers. And so it can be soothing in a number of different ways. And as situations or parts of us are inflamed, it may be a good idea to address those issues before making a decision, before really going in and having needed conversation or making a decision. And I think that that makes a lot of sense with the imagery that came in, as does morel, a mushroom. This energy is saying it's time to regenerate. This is supporting you right now, this regenerative quality. Morels are very rare and delicious delicacies, but what's interesting about them is that they've been very resistant to human cultivation techniques. So it's like we've had a hard time controlling their growth. We can't always control the process that we find ourselves in. We can only seek it out. And so with morel, what's very interesting is that these mushrooms tend to grow in abundance a year after there's been a big wildfire. And so that's why we get this property, regenerate. Maybe there are some things that need to be cleared out in your life in order to be healed on a deeper level. But I really did get this feeling of healing and again, amniosis is just the word that comes through with this cave. really seeking out those places that are restorative to you are going to be very important at this time. And I also got hollyhock, which is very interesting. The message here is abundance, so we have some exciting energy here as well. And with hollyhock, this is actually a plant that provides shelter and nutrients to lots of different animals and insects. And it's very interesting that we have abundance here as well. Again, at the time of this recording, we have Jupiter freshly into your sign. This happened in May, and it's going to be in your sign until May 2025. So while this is a timeless reading, there's a good chance that Jupiter is still in your sign at the time of watching this. And this really tells me that you are quite abundant. You can manifest things, but it's important that you're doing so from a place of calm, from a place of being very centered and grounded, because there was a very strong earth elemental energy that was coming through for you at this time that was very supportive. And I do also think with abundance, it's about recognizing the abundance you have, recognizing the beauty that is in your life, finding beauty in the unexpected and the unexplored. These are all things that are going to be deeply, deeply nourishing to you. And I really do feel like a lot of you are going to be stepping out of your comfort zone, or that is what you are being guided to do, and really go into these places that at first may not feel very hospitable, but are actually calling you and are actually very inviting to you. So fascinating energy here. I feel like I've already said so much. I'm so curious to see what comes up in the tarot for you. And as I shuffle the deck, you can find links in the description of this video for my website, where you can get a personal reading or distance Reiki session. I greatly appreciate all the support that all of you have given this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. All of this helps this channel grow and allows me to continue putting these messages out for all of you. You may be noticing the format is different than previous months, where this is a timeless video, so you are welcome to watch this regardless of when it pops up for you. It may not even be for you. Maybe it's for someone you are connecting to, or a person in your life maybe you're meant to share this with. You're welcome to watch this regardless of placements, but this is especially inviting for Gemini Sun, Moon, and Rising. And I mean, the first tarot cards that come in are definitely very much on brand for what I was talking about, because we have the Hermit and the Two of Swords. There really has been this very intense internal focus. Finding this inner light is often what I think of with the Hermit. And it really is like finding the starlight that we don't always see, that inner guidance that we don't always feel. That is what the Hermit really embodies to me. This is also Virgo energy, so maybe some of you are connecting to a Virgo. But this Two of Swords really does feel like taking some time to meditate. Maybe taking some time to make a decision is something that's very important. And really figuring out the path that feels aligned for you. And this feels like some sort of major life change that I'm picking up on for a lot of you. For some of you, this could even be about moving very far away, or perhaps you are, I'm getting job. There could be something with a change in job. Maybe you need to change your career, something like that. It feels like you're in the process of figuring out what the next step is for you, what the next chapter is, and you have a lot supporting you for this time. And there's really a lot of growth that could potentially come in. So even just giving yourself this time to really reconnect, really sit with yourself, listen to yourself. That's something I've been getting all month for myself, by the way. I've been getting a lot of throat stuff. You may notice I'm kind of sinusy, so I apologize for the 1-900 voice here. I hope it's not too disturbing for any listeners. But I really do get the sense that, yeah, it's important that you are really taking some time and maybe even withdrawing your energy a little bit, being very selective with who you are spending time with, or just how much time you are spending with others. This quite literally feels like alone time. That's something that needs to happen, or something that you've been doing. because it's really about you seeing yourself and seeing beauty and light that has been kept in the dark, shining a light on that. What else do we have? I'm getting luminary. Like you are meant to be a luminary for others in this darkness as well. That's why you're going through a period of darkness. What are the other messages that we have for Gemini? Beautiful. We have the Knight of Swords. And this is your energy, Gemini. The Knight of Swords can also represent Libra or even Aquarius energy. Sometimes this is also Taurus, Gemini cusp energy. But I really see this as you stepping back into yourself, figuring out what's important to you. And it does feel like there is a movement from this stillness. And it's like, it's funny because I feel like the more you're trying to push something, Gemini, the more resistance you are coming into it. The more you're forcing yourself to move without checking in with yourself and really listening to yourself. And I mean like maybe even taking a day of silence or like a weekend of silence if you can. Or just spending a lot of time meditating or quiet. And that doesn't have to just be you sitting in a room. That could be you doing a walking meditation. That could just be you doing body scans. That could look a number of different ways. Don't feel limited here. But I do feel like the moment you really get this sense of stillness, that is when you are able to act and move and go after something here that feels very aligned for you, really stepping in and embodying your energy. And at the time of this recording, we are in your astrological season, so it makes sense that there's a lot of focus on you, your sense of identity and self, your role. I feel like that is something that you are really deeply considering right now. And there are a lot of opportunities that are going to be coming for you, but there may be some growing pains here as well. We do also have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse that came out with this card. And this is quite interesting because some of you may feel like your life is a little bit unstable right now. There's not a long-term plan, or the long-term plan is changing. Maybe things didn't go accordingly for you, particularly in regards to finances. I'm actually getting that for some of you, you've been planning a move or you've been trying to move forward, and there was some sort of financial setback or something that was happening in your day-to-day life that was really, it felt like a barrier, it felt like an obstacle, but actually this was not what was intended from this. The universe is really wanting you, your guides, your higher self, really want you to return to yourself first. In order to move forward, you have to go within. You have to maybe even take a couple steps backwards. I'm very, very curious to see what else we have for you. What are the other messages for Gemini for this time? What wisdom and guidance do we have? Show us clearly, please. Interesting. So we have the Page of Swords in reverse with the Nine of Pentacles upright. There may be conversations that just you may not be ready to have, or someone else around you may not be ready to have. Regardless of who's what here, the Nine of Pentacles really tells me that it's important that you just focus on cultivating a safe space for yourself. And this is very central to this reading. So it's funny that this Nine of Pentacles comes in, because it's like finding a space within this cave, within this darkness, within this journey that you are on that feels almost like a home away from home, or like finding that cloister, finding that shelter in an unexpected way. It does feel like there's some challenging communication here. I feel like someone's taking things the wrong way. Let me know in the comments if that might be you or someone you're connecting with. Maybe it's this earth sign, could be another air sign as well. And I mean, that's kind of the chamomile energy. Going back to it, it's like don't address things while they're inflamed. Address the inflammation first. That actually might be quite literal for some of you who are dealing with health things as well. Maybe you're dealing with some sort of inflammatory disorder, or something like that. But really giving yourself time to cool off, to find stability, to find your footing, connecting with nature. I'm really getting that with this Nine of Pentacles as well. I've really been into like neuropsychology, and something that's really been kind of in my orbit is neuroaesthetics, which is kind of the neurology of beauty. And so surrounding yourself with beautiful things is neuroprotective, and that can be art. That can also be spending time in nature. Making things, creating things is also very neuroprotective as well. Something that is supporting your mind, that will also support your spirit, your wellness. Because it feels like, again, you kind of just need to make moves for what's right for you right now, and that may ruffle some feathers, and maybe you even need to kind of tend to that. But I feel like there's this need to find stability. And for those of you who have been struggling financially, this actually does feel like a pretty good sign to me. I do feel like finances are steadily improving. What else? What are the changes or challenges for Gemini? Shows clearly. Interesting. Three of Cups in reverse. Some of you may be feeling disconnected or misunderstood by friends or people around you. Maybe you're just kind of feeling isolated overall, which honestly makes some sense. We do have the Hermit here. After all, we did have the Two of Swords. It does feel a little disconnected. It may feel a little bit lonely, but that doesn't mean that you can't be at home. And I'm actually hearing, Gemini, that it's important that you are recognizing the people who are there for you, because even though it feels like you're alone, there could still be one person or maybe a couple people who are supporting you, or at least people who you can talk to. And it's important that you acknowledge that. That's just something that I kind of got a blip of. And it does feel like there maybe has been a canceled plan or some sort of delay. I could see that as well. And it's important not to overindulge in things right now. Sometimes the Three of Cups in reverse can kind of be the opposite, where it's like you're being too social. Sometimes there is substance use or drinking involved here. So use your discernment how this applies to your life. Yeah, I'm actually feeling like this is a really good time for sobriety or detoxing, or just changing your diet, doing things that are supportive to your health and to your wellness. And sometimes that does actually disconnect people from each other. Sometimes that is a primary way that a lot of people connect. So maybe you're feeling called to connect to people in a different way, which could also, I could also actually see that as Three of Cups in reverse too. Which is kind of interesting. But it does feel like there's some sort of change to the way that you connect with others. And maybe there's even some sort of feeling of disconnect right now. But again, I really do feel like there is some sort of light. There is something that you are meant to gain from within. And that is an opportunity that is available to you. What is the potential blessing? Where is this leading? Wow, we have the Six of Swords. So some of you, again, I really do feel like some of you could be quite literally moving. That is sometimes indicated with the Six of Swords. But this often is just leaving a challenging period behind, moving on from turbulent waters and towards something more steady, facing the shore here. There is something finally in view after being lost at sea, or kind of like at the mercy of the waves. I really feel like something is shifting, and it honestly feels internal, at least at first. But I think probably within a month's time of watching this, there's this sense of having more clarity, having more direction, maybe even sooner, where you are seeing, okay, this is where I'm going next. This is what I'm doing next. This is the next step for me. And we also have the Six of Wands here as well. So 2 sixes. We have a victory, overcoming something. The Six of Wands quite literally is returning from battle, having this victory, overcoming something. You are finding resiliency in hardship. And it really does feel like there is a celebration. There is a win for you. And maybe perhaps even a return to something as well. Maybe some of you are traveling back to a place you have been to before, whether that's your hometown or a place you once lived or traveled to. Because again, sometimes the Six of Wands, it can be like the return of something or maybe someone, but I really feel like this is your reading, Gemini, so I'm more interested in how this applies to you. Maybe there is a reconnection with friends or with people you have felt disconnected from. I did get that with the Three of Cups. Anything else? Anything else for Gemini? Any other messages or pieces of advice or guidance for Gemini at this time? We have Judgment. There will be a big decision that you need to make. And it might not even be right now at the time of watching this video. Judgment is often about healing and sometimes even forgiveness. And maybe you're forgiving yourself. Maybe you're forgiving people who have hurt you or wronged you. And that does not mean that it's okay, whatever happened, whatever someone did. But it's about releasing something. It's about ascending to the next level. And this does feel like a very deep spiritual calling to me. So it's important that you answer the call, Gemini. The call to go within. The call to integrate and face parts of yourself that maybe you've been avoiding. Because only when you do that, you are able to ascend or go to the next level. So some big energy, some really big stuff. And I keep going back to my throat. I keep touching my throat. And a lot of people understand the throat or throat chakra to be the center of truth. And a lot of people make that mean expression or speaking things. But it's more than just speaking something. It's also the center of listening. And before you can speak your truth, you have to listen to your truth. And that takes time. It really can. Sometimes it's very clear to us right away. Other times we need to really take time to listen. And that could be what judgment is about. There could even be something that surprises you, or this return to something from an earlier time in your life, this truth, this direction. Maybe some of you are looking at astrology or similar systems. I even got human design for some of you. Maybe you're exploring these things to almost remember, like, what am I doing with my life? That's just what I'm getting. I do want to pull an animal card for you, and then I think we will call it a wrap for this month, Gemini, or for this time. Ooh, that's a lot. Let's try that again. Okay. What are the animal messengers for Gemini at this time? We have the buffalo. Very earthy again, but also very spiritual. I actually love that this card came out for you. Buffalo really is about moving slowly and steadily, not being fazed by what's happening around you with that lightning bolt, not being fazed by the storm, maybe even seeking shelter. This sometimes is a card of yoga or very pure, devout practice, Shakti. And when I really look at the buffalo, I think of that very deep, steady energy, those heavy hooves planted in the ground, those horns connected to the heavens. This is a very grounded yet spiritual energy, and I feel like that is an energy for you to embody, Gemini. Maybe you'll even see buffalo. Maybe that will be something that you get in images or in dreams. That could be something that is very synchronous for you as well. That could just kind of be a nudge from spirit. But I feel like this is a very powerful energy for you to connect with. And I actually, you know what? I'm feeling called to read directly from the book here. Let's see, where is it? Buffalo, buffalo, buffalo. Here we go. Thank you for your patience, by the way. Grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rides towards heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time, and may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. When in balance, trusting, pure presence. When out of balance, restless, lacks gratitude. To bring into balance, prayer and bhakti. Bhakti was the word I meant to say earlier, not Shakti, but maybe that's a connection for some of you as well. But I think that card really encapsulates so much of what we talked about. And gratitude does seem to be something important here, and really challenging your perspective. Maybe there is something that you are seeing as a challenge that is actually meant to be an opportunity, or something that you can make an opportunity for growth or upliftment. And I really was getting that kind of throughout as well, especially going back to that cave. There was something very beautiful within that journey through the dark. Anyways, Gemini, those are all the messages I have for you for now. I do hope that this was helpful. Definitely be sure to hit like and subscribe if it was. Again, all of the support helps me continue putting these messages out for all of you. You can also hit that bell notification so you never miss out on a reading on this channel. Again, all of my links are in the description of this video. You can also book a personal reading or distance Reiki session on my website. And I will see you next time. Take care, Gemini.